Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's show of Roc'N Recovery. My name's Carol Michelle.
I am Jonathan Jacobs.
And today we have a very special guest. We have Judge Jack Elliott on the show. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
I'm really excited that you're here.
Good, so am I.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about drug court.
All righty.
Because that's what you're known for. And I read somewhere that you said you are the most lied to man in Monroe County. Is that true?
Oh, I believe so. There hasn't actually been a study. But if I were to go on how often I am lied to, and I'm not even counting home with the kids, I was interviewed by, I think it was Doug Embledge interviewed me on Channel 13, and he asked me, I don't know, I just came up with it one day, but it's when you're dealing with people with addiction issues, to be lied to is not uncommon, let's put it that way, and it's all I do every day.
Yeah, it's not the most uncommon practice in the world of addiction, that's for sure.
No, and everyone, I tell people when I'm in court, they've all made me a cynic. I don't believe anything people say to me.
Right.
So it's really weird, because before this job, before I was a judge, I was a public defender, and so I'm kind of like in the opposite role of not being the believer, but I am the most lied to person in my county, to answer your question.
Well, thank you for clearing that up. So, I know that you're a judge. Drug court is booming in our area, as far as I can see. There's always a lot of people going in. Do you think it's making a difference? Is it helping at all?
I really do. I run 3 of our specialty courts. Myself and Judge Donalfo run them together. I run drug court. I also run mental health court, which is, and DWI court. Both DWI court and mental health court basically were an extension of drug court. Same model. Treatment providers from the community come in. I take cases from all over Monroe County, and I hook them up with help and treatment. If people do the right thing happens to them. We are never short of business. I think today was Monday morning. It's usually a small calendar. I think I had 25 people on this morning. I've got 38 on tomorrow morning, and I got another 22 on tomorrow afternoon. So tomorrow alone, I'll handle upwards of 60 cases, and that's a regular routine. So it's booming, which is not a good thing. I mean, it's good that we're getting people help, but it's kind of sad that we need that kind of help.
Mm-hmm.
So this sounds like a weird, unfortunate balance of job security never being an issue for you.
Yes, it's my job is very secure. It's horrible to say it, but there's always going to be the need for what we do. And it's been in existence. When I was first a public defender, we didn't have drug and treatment courts. Judge Schwartz came up with the idea. I was the second public defender assigned to our drug court back in 1990, probably 3 or 4. And when I ran as a city court judge, I always ran with the intent of taking over for Judge Schwartz, because I always, as a public defender, as a defense attorney, I was always getting people involved in treatment programs, anything to better themselves, so I could then argue to the judge, be easy on my guy. This is what she's doing. This is what the improvements they're making. Let's not knock it off. It's the same theory. And so I was actually assigned to Judge Schwartz, and he kind of ran drug court before drug court was invented. We were always getting people into treatment programs, and so it was a very natural thing for me to move right into drug courts and take them over when Judge Schwartz retired.
So you'd be the perfect guy to ask when that became an official practice of the court system. Did you notice a monumental or lack thereof shift with recovery rates or success rates with people pursuing that?
Well, I think that people, first of all, we didn't have the court, so it was hard to compare it to previous success rates, because no one was really measuring them that I'm aware of. But I think the whole theory behind them, what I find with the treatment courts is people come to me, they almost never come to me voluntarily.
Right.
No one wants to come and see me. They generally are fighting it, or think they can somehow get through it without really having to do anything, and then they realize, oh no, this guy means what he says. The other judge who came before me did the same thing, and it takes time for them to realize, okay, yes, maybe this guy's a jerk, but he apparently cares about me. And
Right.
all of a sudden, and I say this frequently at someone's graduation, I don't know what it was. I don't know what caused you to change, but all of a sudden, looks like someone flipped a switch, and they just all of a sudden, they start doing what you ask them to do. They start showing up for what they're supposed to show up for. They stop using drugs, or if they do, they're honest about it. And I can never put my finger on why. And I think it's just all of a sudden they realize, no, they care over here. This person is giving me a chance. This person is sincere about what they're saying. And all of a sudden they change.
Right.
And so that it's really crazy. They measure graduates' success on who graduated, and I don't even think that's a fair representation, because I've had people come back to me. One lady, she came back, she'd been in prison. She was sitting in my court at the end of court. I said, "What are you doing here?" She said, "I'm here to say thank you." I said, "What'd I do?" She said, "You gave me 1 to 3. I said, "Well, you're welcome." Glad I could help. And I said, "Why are you thanking me? I gave you 1 to 3. She said, "You gave me every possible chance I could have." And on my way up to I think it was Elmira, where they put people out to different state prisons. She said, "On that bus ride, I realized I was going to state prison because of the decisions I made and not doing what you suggested I do, and I decided I was going to change." And she said, "And I've been out of prison for 4 years. I haven't used since I got out. I made that decision that day, and I haven't changed." So there was a person who technically failed drug treatment court, but really the experience she had, and the experience she had was someone cared, someone gave her chance after chance after chance, to the point where she realized, this is mine. And she finally owned it and moved forward from there. So the success, I grapple with success rates and how successful are we?
Right.
Because I don't know how to measure it, to be honest with you. The way I measure it one person at a time. That's how I do it. Mm-hmm. People ask me, how do you combat the opioid crisis? And I'm like, oh my God, I have no idea.
Right.
I get that asked all the time. Everyone asks me that question. And I do it, the way I say it, I do it one person at a time. It is a crisis, and that's the only way you can handle it. It's like trying to sweep back the ocean. You're trying to fight the opioid crisis. So I deal with the person that's in front of me. I get them the help that they need, and if we win that one, we won the opioid crisis. And then what's really exciting is when we have people who go through my program and then they go to school and they become addiction counselors, they become peer recovery coaches, and they start fighting the opioid. That's really turning the tide on the opioid epidemic, as far as I'm concerned. You're taking the people that, in my opinion, used to be the victims of the epidemic, you're turning them against the epidemic, and that's how I see it really fight it.
Right.
And so, it's exciting to see it happen, and it happens a lot. I have so many people that I go to different events, and they tell me they're nurses, they're counselors. I have people running houses, recovery houses, halfway houses that have been through my program. And when you can do that, that's really a measure of success.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a beautiful thing when you empower people, right?
Yeah, to see what can happen, it's amazing. And some people you think would never, you meet them to begin with, and it's like, oh my goodness, this one's bananas. But you give them a chance, and you give them a chance, and you give them, and it's all of a sudden they start doing the right thing. And those are some of the most effective people, the ones that have the hardest time getting through my program, and then turn it around and start. They are the ones that are really come out and really can help others.
Yeah.
And so it's a great court. I enjoy it. It's the most difficult job I've ever had in my life, and I've had some miserable jobs in my life. Mm-hmm. But it's a great thing to be able to do every day.
All right, we're gonna go to a break.
All right.
But we'll be right back. Hi, everybody. Thanks for staying with us on Roc'N Recovery. We're still here today with Judge Jack Elliott, and he's telling us all about drug court and his experiences and stuff. Yeah?
So I wanted to jump in here for just a second before we moved on. Something that you had said with the circling back around, right? We arm these people with the facts of themselves. They eventually, like you had said, with the young lady going up to prison, it sounds like there was like a pinnacle turning point of responsibility, right? There was a retrospect, and what we call that in my program is a divine intervention of some sort. And for me, what that really looks like is I'm willing, even in a brief period of time, to see the truth about me and what I've done and what's happening around me. And my experience was exactly that as well. I'm a 2-time felon for selling narcotics and been off papers for quite some time. And the thing that I learned about me and others like me in the recovery world is, as long as you continue to provide somebody like me opportunities to continue doing what I do, I have no reason to stop doing them. But then once somebody finally makes me lay in the bed that I had been making for so many years, I have no choice but to be left with the only person that started the problem, and that's me.
And that's you spend so much time trying to get there with each individual that comes in front of me, and sometimes you never get there, and sometimes you're not sure how you got there.
Right.
I'm going to be honest with you. When I'm up on that bench, I'm making this stuff up as I go along, much like I am during this interview. But I think it's a combination of different things. One, I kind of grew up with these issues, not foreign to my family at all or my friends. Myself, I had to quit drinking when I was 20.
Yeah.
I would have been. I tell my people in front of me all the time, I said, but for the fact that I was told I was going to die if I didn't quit drinking when I was 20.
Yeah.
And God knows why I quit drinking, but I just did. I'd be down. I wouldn't be up on the bench.
Right.
I'd be down in front of me.
Right.
And I don't want to be in front of me.
No, I've been there, and it's no vacation.
And so to get someone to realize that it is theirs, and that's, I call it just personal responsibility. That is what my court is. It is accountability. It is personal responsibility. You own your own decisions, and frequently I'm the first person that they encounter in their life who just makes that happen. It's like beating your head against the wall. I do it day in. If you sit in my court, I say the same thing over and over and over, and you just hope sooner or later it comes through.
Right.
And it doesn't always, but somewhere it does, and when it does, it's a wonderful thing. So.
Well, I'm sure you've heard it before, but I've been active in the recovery world for actually in about a week will be 7 years.
Well, there you go.
So that's exciting.
Good for you.
Hey, John.
But
Congratulations.
Thank you. I have a group of friends. I do a lot of my recovery stuff in Rochester, so I have friends who know you very well. We'll call them clients of yours. and one of the most common statement that people have made about you to me, because like we talk about the judicial system. I sponsor some guys who are in the court system currently, and they all say that you are really fair, and that they know that you're coming from a good place. They may not necessarily like what is being said, but they said that they've identified that there are people there who care.
Well, it's funny because I don't know, sometimes I wonder what I say in court. Things I say sometimes are just, I don't know, not right. But it was like when I was an attorney. I would have my client out in the hallway, and I would be running up one side of them and down the other, telling it to them straight. And I know they were scared daylights of me. They thought, this guy's not for me, this guy's not for me. And then I would take whatever garbage they were giving me out in the hallway, and I would go in front of a judge, and I would spin it somehow to make it sound like it was good, and get my guy 2 more weeks to maybe turn things around. And I'd take him back out in the hallway, and I'd climb right up them again and give it to him and say, you better go out and do it. I got you 2 more weeks. You got to change what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. It's just I tell it to them straight. If you don't understand what's going on in my courtroom, then you are just not paying attention. I'm simple as the day is long. I'm not complex. I say it again and again and again. My rules are simple. Do what you're supposed to do. Don't do what you're not supposed to do. Those are the 2 rules I have in my court.
Sounds easy to me.
It sounds easy to me. And that's all, and I stick to it. And I think frequently I am the first person that I think a lot of them run into where I almost feel like a parent to them, which is really weird because I felt like a parent to people that are 20 years older than me.
Yeah.
And a lot of them tell me that. And I wish I was effective as effective as a parent as I am as a judge. It's a lot harder with your own kids, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I can't throw my kids in jail. So I mean, it's the magic is I really don't know what it is. And people tell me you're good at it. They say, "Oh, you're so good at it," and I'm like, all I do is be decent to people. That's what's crazy about it. They say, like, I'm so good at it, and all I'm really doing is kind of being decent and kind and understanding and giving them a chance and trying my best not to be a jerk. And I think it gets to them. The lady graduated the other day. She said, you just were always kind.
Yeah.
And this is a lady had thrown in jail probably 8 times before she got it. But she said, you're always kind. It's really weird to have sentence someone's finally done, and I give them a year in jail, and they say thank you.
Yeah.
And they mean it.
Yeah.
They thank me. I put them in jail for a year. They turn and say, thank you, Judge. And I always say, glad I could help. You know what I'm saying? But they know they've been given every chance. They know I wanted them to succeed, and they know that I couldn't do anything else. I had to do it.
Right.
So I think that's where it comes from. And so, anyhow.
I'm willing to bet there's a lot of family members too that are very grateful for what you did for their family member, you know?
I can't go anywhere in this city. It drives my wife crazy. Everywhere we go, you can see it when you're walking down the aisle of Wegmans or something. Someone will just see me, and my wife will say, "Here comes another one." Hey, Judge Elliott, either they were in front of me, or their kid was in front of me, or everywhere I go. I was in Disneyland one time. I get off Splash Mountain.
No kidding.
And hey, Judge Elliott, I'm like, oh my goodness, come on.
Can't go anywhere.
You can't go anywhere. So it's great, and I enjoy it. I always thank people when they do that, because it means, I was walking to work the other day, and there was this guy, had his shopping cart, big bag of cans, and he's pushing it along. He's obviously a homeless guy, and I walk in front of him, and I just hear, "Good morning, Judge Elliott." And I turn and I say, "Hey, how you doing?" I talk to him for a second, but there's a guy who can say hi to me, who knows he can say hi to me.
Yeah, right.
And he knows he will be treated decently. He knows I'll be happy to see him. He knows I'd be more than happy to hear from him. And my guess is he doesn't say hi to a lot of people on the street.
Right.
And so I think it's the way I treat people is why, and there's no magic to it. It's not hard. It's just what you should do. And I don't know why that's special. That's what I find troubling.
Yeah. I actually had that exact same experience. It's interesting you say that. I can share firsthand experience on being on the other side of it as somebody who received that compassion from a judge. I was in Ontario County with Judge Doran, and he stood in front of me and he said, "I could sentence you to 9 years right now, and you would do it." And he said, I could make sure you did every minute of it. But alongside of him, one of the Ontario County probation officers did a recommendation that I have a bed-to-bed transfer to ACC, to the Addiction Crisis Center. And they followed me like a hawk. I was on felony probation for quite some time, and they made me earn it. They made me earn any freedom I got. But when I was released from papers I think I was about 4 years sober, I asked to go into the court and read a letter to the judge, and it still get emotional talking about it now, but I told him the truth. He saved my life, because had he just thrown me away like I had felt my entire life, I would have had no reason to change. There would have been no ambition there.
Right, and Judge Doran's a big supporter of our courts, and he was being straight with you is what he was doing.
Yeah.
He told you exactly what the deal was, and he gave you a chance, and you responded. And when people come back like that, it's so gratifying for any of us, treatment court judge or any regular judge. And what I always say to people is, we get that you saved my life, and we get that a lot, and I kind of cringe every time I hear it, because Judge Doran didn't save your life. The probation officer didn't save your life. They gave you the chance to save your own life.
Yeah,
and that's what happened.
You're good. We have to go to a break, but before we do, I just want to say that because you're being kind to a group of people that are so regularly dismissed, you know, I think that that's huge. So thank you on behalf of everybody.
Right. Well, you're welcome.
Okay, we're going to go to a break, but we'll be right back. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching Roc'N Recovery. We are here today with Judge Elliott, and I would like to know, what's the difference between drug court and a regular court?
Well, in a regular court, you pretty much either take a plea or go to trial. You know, the attorney might try and get it dismissed. It's all legal stuff. It's all, you know, they determine guilt or innocence. In my court, there's no determination of guilt and innocence. As I like to say, everybody in my court's guilty. Because in order to come to my court, you have to admit you've done something wrong. It's really, for my money, the first step on the road to recovery. You did something wrong. And I'm not saying the using the drugs part and all that business. No, I'm talking about criminally you've done something wrong. So you have to take a plea. You can't come to my court unless you say guilty. And then so I take cases, I'm a city court judge, I was an elected city court judge. They make me a county court, acting county court judge, they call it. That gives me jurisdiction throughout Monroe County. So I get cases from all the town court judges, they send me cases. City court judges send me cases, county court judges, Supreme Court judges, all send me cases, because me and Judge Denolfo, because he runs the other treatment courts with me. And we have community providers who come in. We have about a dozen different agencies that come in, and they send a case manager in, and there are go between the program and the court, and we assign people to the treatment program. They actually sign a contract with us. It's about 3 pages. It lays out what's expected of them. It lays out what they will receive if they are successful, and what they will receive if they are not. And it's basically the way I explain it to we have a lot of kids that come into the program. I said, if they are successful, they get what we call in the law a sweet deal. And if they're not so much. Right. It can go from anywhere to a 1-year conditional discharge, which simply means stay out of trouble for a year. That's your sentence. Some people, if they come to me without a criminal record or a very minimal criminal record, we like to have them walk away without a criminal record. So sometimes they're allowed to vacate their plea and plea to a non-criminal case. Sometimes they're outright dismissed. It all really depends on their background, the deal that was struck with the district attorney. But they sign a contract. They say, I want to come here. It's voluntary. No one has to come to my court. A lot of times they come to my court and they say, oh, you made me come. I said, no, I didn't make you. Right. There's not one single person. I've never recruited anybody to come to my court. They come to me, which is important, because when they start belly aching about what's expected of them, I say, wait a second. I was up front with you from Jump Street. You knew what was expected of it. You came to me and said, I want help. And I provided you the help, but I also told you these are the rules. And so, in order to graduate from my court, a lot of people wonder about that. One, you have to be, these are the basic requirements. You have to be clean for a year. Okay. All right? You have to have no arrests for a year. If you don't already have your high school diploma, you have to get it. All right? Wow. We run a court to college, we call it court to college program. MCC provides the teachers, MCC provides materials. All we provide are students and space. Wow. We've graduated over 120 people have gotten their high school diplomas. One lady, she kept belly aching the whole time. I shouldn't have to do this. She was 68 years old. I said to her, listen here, you came to my court, that's one of the requirements. You're going to get your high school diploma. She belly ached the whole time. She got her high school diploma. Her dad was there. Her mom. Everybody was all happy. She was thrilled that she got it. So you have to be clean a year, no arrest for a year, high school diploma, and if you don't already have a job, you have to be working. Now, there's flexibility in everything. You know, if someone can't pass the GED, we get it. What I require is a good faith effort. If they show me, yes, I tried, and the teacher says, no, Judge, they tried, they can't, then fine, you've tried. I consider that. So it takes 12 months to get through. Almost no one does it in 12 months. I mean, these are people dealing with addiction issues. They don't do things perfectly. So I find it to be anywhere between 18 to 22 months is about the average amount of time to get through my court. And if you complete the contract, you get a great deal. And I do whatever I can for people to complete my contract. If I can get them if I can sign a certificate of relief from civil disabilities, I'll do that. If I can get take the plea away, we do that. Whatever we can to help them out is what we do. So that's the nutshell version of what I do.
You know what I love about that? I love that it's not punishment. It is you're helping to empower them to have self-confidence. Like they kind of fight against getting a high school diploma, right, or a GED. But once they are in the process and once they get it, it's got to make them feel like, you know what? Hey, look at me, right? I can accomplish something.
Right, and it's really. I mean, I had one fella, young kid. His attorney kept saying to me, he can't pass the test. That's all he kept saying to me. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, his mother tells me this, and he had this back in school. I said, you get me all the documentation of someone's going to say this. No way, this kid can't do it. And he never. And I said, listen. I said, I'm not saying he has to pass the test. He has to try. And he has to show up, and he has to do the work, and he has to make an effort. If he doesn't pass the test, then I am fine with that. Get past the test.
No kidding.
Yeah, so one thing I hate is to hear either attorneys or anybody tell someone they can't do it. It makes me sick. There's no one that comes into my courtroom I do not truly believe can get sober, can remain sober, can learn how to be in recovery, and can live a life in recovery. I don't think there's anyone that can't do it. And so I hate when I hear that. I hate when, especially if the attorney tells me that. I could choke them.
Yeah.
Because if that's what the person's hearing, first of all. The person representing them is saying that.
Yeah, they're starting off.
What makes them think, why are they going to not believe that person? You know, you tell a kid you're not going to succeed, the kids probably think you can't succeed.
Yeah.
So, but it's a good job. I keep saying it's a good job only because it's a good job.
You know, you sound like somebody who's in recovery.